See it played Death Ride Halfaya Pass. Okay, so I think that no, I do need to. Yeah, I do need to talk about heavy weapons because I think I left an incorrect. Well, I left behind an incorrect interpretation in an earlier video, if I remember correctly. I'm not going to go back and check it, but I think I did. So where do I stand with heavy weapons? I did some outside research, and yeah, I did some outside research, and heavy weapons did not. It turns out that the way that I think I'm supposed to proceed is not actually the way that I thought was most, I guess, intuitive. It turns out, well, actually, I don't even know how to simplify it. And by the way, I need to get this straight, because to play even this small battle, let alone the Death Ride Kursk battles, I have to get heavy weapons right. Okay, so, and let me say up front, I look back at the Death Ride Halfaya Pass rules, and I don't, according to the understanding that I have now, I don't see how I could have gotten this from the Death Ride Halfaya Pass rules as written. It's not at all that there are errors, of course. It's just, I just don't know how this was supposed to be gotten from the rules as written. Somebody's either, I don't know, somebody's has a very different way of thinking than I do, or is just lucky to get it right the first time through. So, and what's the crux? I think the crux of the matter with heavy weapons, and what I did not get before, is that it now appears that heavy weapons are an exception to the rule about artillery units firing and then being marked fire complete. So normal artillery, and when I say artillery, it's supposed to be normal artillery and mortars. Well, as a matter of fact, let's see what the rules say even about that in the Halfaya Pass rules. Okay, so from the fire support rule section, this is actually very clear now that I look back on it, but let me explain still how this came about. Use: when an artillery or mortar, comma, not heavy weapons, comma, unit is used, it must be turned over to show that it may not be used again that turn. Now, I have the information markers. I am marking them as fire complete. It's the same thing as turning them over as far as the Halfaya Pass rules explain it. So basically, they're firing once. Yeah. It may not be used again that turn. Okay. So there's that hard rule. Then there is, so heavy weapons are an exception to that, which of course it makes it sound like that, not heavy weapons. And that is the point where I want to emphasize the rules are correct, but to catch what that means, yeah, it's not easy to catch what that means. So now let's look at heavy weapons again. So now this is what it says in the rules about heavy weapons. Heavy weapons units, and this is under assault, which I guess is where the distinction of heavy weapons is most pronounced, other than it having its own line on the firepower table. Okay, it says heavy weapons units, those designated with an asterisk. So I want to point out these are both heavy weapons because they have the asterisk 2/2/6 star or asterisk 8, 6/2 asterisk 8. Okay, so they are starred, what I'm calling starred units. May support the combat. So we're talking about the assault combat from within their range allowances when supporting units that are part of their organization. So these are heavy weapons units, so it has to be this organization right here, which would not at all be clear from these rules, but it is. This unit's organization is Echo Company, 1st Battalion, 104th Panzer Grenadier, and this over here is, Charlie Company, 1st Battalion, 104th Panzer Grenadier. That's the organization that they're referring to here. They even show the example. So 4th Platoon Charlie Company, 1st Battalion 104th may only support an assault by elements of Charlie 1st Battalion 104th. So that's from the rules. That's the example I just gave. This is the 2nd Platoon Echo Company, etc., etc. It supports Echo Company. This is the 4th Platoon Charlie Company. It supports the Charlie Company. That's it. I mean, it sounds like I guess there's the question of. Actually, I was wondering if they could support something outside their organization at half firepower. I'm going to assume that that's not the case. I'm not even sure about that. But anyways, I was only going to play that they're going to support their own organization. Okay. Anyways, here's the thing, though. That's what they say about starred units. It is not clear that means both of these. Okay, that does mean both of these. So the question is, what about the artillery? How would you even know there's artillery? Well, it turns out that you have heavy weapons units that are only direct fire. This platoon is heavy weapons platoon direct fire. The 2 and the 6 are both direct fire values. It turns out that this one is basically, and nowhere does it say this, but this is basically a hybrid. This is the 6. The secondary firepower is direct fire weapons. The 2, the primary weapon factor, is in fact mortars, which is in fact artillery, which is in fact indirect fire. And so then I thought, if that's all logical, I thought, therefore, the 2 factors for mortars in this heavy weapons platoon would then follow the rule of artillery of only firing once. But no, the repetition of fire is actually according to the heavy weapons rules, which, if you put it all together, means, oh man, it makes sense, but you got to put all the pieces together. So when it comes to supporting assaults, it's firing away as any other heavy weapons platoon, direct and indirect fire, or any combination. And then, non-intuitively, it's also it's firing like a direct fire weapon as far as all the rules for the many opportunities to fire, right? So this unit is firing as artillery, but is firing just like any other unit, opportunity fire. Yeah, I think they can do opportunity fire. So this unit can fire indirect fire against a unit stack moving as per normal opportunity fire, but it's indirect opportunity fire. Of course, artillery can do that too, but then they're done. These guys aren't done. They keep firing. So this operates like another normal unit as far as being reset after the end of a unit mover, a unit stack mover, and then it can do it again. So basically, okay, so actually this unit is never done firing except as per any unit. And that's for, quote unquote normal fire. What's normal fire? Fire, non-assault fire, I guess. And then it's also never done in assault fire. Okay, that's the part that I would have never gotten from the rules as written, and that I had to piece together, and I think that's how we're proceeding. And again, it doesn't really feel entirely intuitive, so this is one of those situations where I think I'm just going to have to play it to see it in action to get a feel for it. But it is a hybrid. I think that, because it is a hybrid, because another platoon of Charlie Company could be the spotter for this unit, for the Charlie Company, for the 4th Platoon Charlie Company. So 1st Platoon Charlie Company could be spotting for this unit and firing away, but only with two combat factor indirectly, you know, over a ridge or whatever, without having to be in the line of sight of the target, just like any other artillery. But this unit is going to be doing that repeatedly, basically. Repeatedly is, I guess, the point. So when it comes down to it, I think that it could have been presented. The rule's fine. I got it. This is supposed to be highly responsive fire at the company level. I got that. No problem. I want to emphasize that I do not want simplification. I mean, I can think of two ways to simplify this. I don't actually want simplification. I want it all to stay the way it is, but there should be a really clear presentation that, hey, I mean, what's nice is this rule set has so few exceptions, which is a great quality of this rule set. But when you do have an exception like this, it's got to be really clear, and the rules could probably help you more. As a matter of fact, maybe these aren't both called heavy weapons units, but they are. These are heavy weapons units. They're heavy weapons units that are basically like an infantry type, and these are my words, not the rule set. You basically have infantry type heavy weapons units, and you have basically like artillery type heavy weapons units. And again, those are my terms. In the rules, they're just all heavy weapons units, and then the only clue, I guess you could call it a clue, is under the unit symbols and examples, which I've already mentioned are not complete. They do not list all the unit symbols and types in the game. But when it has German heavy weapons, it has machine guns, semicolon, 81 millimeter mortars. Again, you would not get. It is clear now. I mean, having played the system as much as I have so far, it's clear now that the 6 is machine guns, and the 2 in this case is mortars. But over here, and this symbol is not shown at all, this is not that case. So again, the NATO symbol is significant, but the NATO symbol doesn't really help you figure out what's going on. But yes, this has mortar. The 2 primary weapon factor is a mortar, which is considered artillery. And then over here, the 2 and the 6, they're both direct fire. So you're not firing with a spotter indirectly with this unit like you are with this one. Again, it all makes sense when you figure that all out. But the rules didn't really help you.